Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Unlocking the Hidden Potential of RFID in Omnichannel. My name is Beth Hughes, and I am the Vice President of Trade and Customs Policy here at the American Apparel and Footwear Association, and I will also serve as your moderator for today. AAFA is the largest trade association in the U.S., representing apparel and footwear brands, retailers, wholesale companies, and the supplier community, all of whom produce and distribute products across global markets. Focusing on three core areas critical to the business operations of our industry: brand protection, supply chain and manufacturing, and trade, AAFA provides members with expertise across these disciplines to help members navigate the complex global marketplace. With unparalleled access to personalized casework, thought leadership, and unique resources and tools, AAFA is united through its mission, advocacy that fits. AAFA continues to update resources and materials around COVID-19 relief. We have issued guidelines to support companies manufacturing PPE and have developed new resources, which can be accessed from AAFA's website in its COVID-19 Resource Center. I will also highlight that we just reissued and updated the factory audit, which is available on our AAFA website. A quick technical note as we get started. We encourage everyone to participate and ask questions throughout the presentation. Please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. They will be answered during the Q&A segment of this presentation. We are also recording today's webinar, and it will be available for you to download on AAFA's Learning Center, along with the presentation deck within 48 hours. If you experience any technical difficulties throughout, please contact GoToWebinar support at 1-800-263-6317. Presenting today from Checkpoint Systems, we have Phil Lazo, who is the Director of RFID Solutions. Phil Lazo is a retail technology industry veteran with over 20 years of experience serving apparel and footwear retailers and brands. Phil's industry expertise spans RFID, inventory management, and retail loss prevention. The three key learning objectives that we will cover today include why item-level RFID improves inventory accuracy in stores, why Omnichannel needs RFID technology, and how apparel and footwear retailers benefit. So with that, Phil, let's begin.
Well, thank you, Beth. And it's a pleasure to spend this time with you to share my observations on omnichannel retail and the role that RFID plays not only in driving sales and profit, but also enabling the omnichannel fulfillment from the store. As Beth said, I've served retailers and brands for over 20 years, and in the last few years, I've witnessed the explosive growth and demand for a shopping journey that's both digital and physical, or a digital omni experience, as many retail execs refer to. And I'll make the case that RFID is essential in this digital omni space. It's not a nice to have. And I'll present three themes to support this. The first theme is that inventory accuracy is the next battleground for apparel and footwear retailers. We know that the stores operate with poor accuracy, and tagging retail items with RFID and counting those tags with RFID readers is a revolutionary advancement versus SKU-based barcode methods of inventory management. You get visibility down to the last item and dramatic improvements in inventory accuracy and speed of counting, and I'll demonstrate this with a short video. But the bottom line is that RFID provides an accurate picture of the store's inventory, and that ensures you get the right product and it's always on the shelf when the consumer wants it, giving retailers every chance to sell the item, which is going to be a key challenge for 2021. Think of it as every RFID tagged item in your store unlocks sales and profit benefit, and I'll report on some of the results that are public. The second theme is that omnichannel customers are your most productive customers, and they demand services such as buy online, pick up in store, or other services that fulfill online orders from the store. But the omnichannel experience has to be delivered with speed, simplicity, and convenience. Think about it. You've got a consumer on your online channel. She's purchasing a product. She may be excited about it, inspired with it. and she wants the speed and convenience of picking it up in the store. She goes to the store and the store employee can't find the item, or even worse, the order is canceled. You're risking a lost relationship with this consumer. So at the heart of the omnichannel experience is inventory accuracy. And RFID is the only way to establish the accuracy that you need. Building from my first two is my third theme, using RFID to make the in-store fulfillment process more streamlined for store associates, which ultimately drives a better experience for consumers and makes them want to use the service more. And how this benefits retailers will be discussed. But first is one slide about Checkpoint. Our parent company is CCL Industries. We're a global specialty packaging leader and the largest label company in the world. Checkpoint is a freestanding division of CCL, and we serve retail and have been innovating in this market for 50 years. We're a retail loss prevention leader and a vertically integrated solution provider for RFID. And what does this mean? We make the complete solution: RFID tags, readers, software as a service, and services delivered by an experienced team of client success managers who only focus on retail use cases. We're a global company with a team of global field service professionals that support your solutions. And the software we provide is called Halo. Installed worldwide, it's a SaaS solution that delivers strong ROIs for retail clients. Let's start our talk with why. Why is this important and why should you care? And I'll do this with some market context. There's no denying that omnichannel is changing the landscape of apparel and footwear retailing. There's massive shifts in the way people shop, only accelerated by the pandemic. According to a recent McKinsey report, 6 out of 10 people now use at least one digital channel in their shopping journey for an apparel item. But the same report says that stores are still relevant and essential. And it concludes that the average omni-channel shopper spends a lot more and shops a lot more. The leading omni-channel retailers have made a huge leap by offering buy online, pick up in store, or BOPUS to their customers. And I'll be referring to BOPUS throughout this presentation as a catch-all term for these types of in-store fulfillment services. And these omni-channel retailers are serving an important customer segment. How important? Well, this is a great quote from the CEO of Kohl's. Shoppers who shop digital and store channels are 6 times more productive than digital only, and 4 times more productive than just people that shop just the stores. So this is a confirmation from the CEO of Kohl's. Omnichannel customers are simply more productive to your business. And so the BOPUS revolution is here. The retail leaders are redefining e-commerce. They're extending e-commerce into the store with these types of in-store fulfillment services. And for the rest, customers are demanding it. But you have to execute BOPUS flawlessly. Otherwise, you lose more than you gain. And the next slide, I'll start building the case, the foundation stone being inventory accuracy. Inventory accuracy drives the smooth operation of your business. And I've heard it best said that it is the next battleground for apparel and footwear retailers. And the ones reaching accurate inventory win. It's simply fundamental to the smooth operation of your business. But industry metrics from various sources tell us that the apparel and footwear sector operates between 65 and 75% accuracy at SKU level. And why is that? In the weeks after the physical inventory, accuracy degrades. There's errors in outbound shipments, receiving errors, shrink, POS, and other types of processing errors. And these errors accumulate week after week after the last physical inventory. So retailers that perform the physical inventory, and they typically perform it like after peak, the accuracy then declines 2 to 3% per month in some cases. So only performing the PI one time a year and the distortions are maximized right around the next peak. It's really a worst case scenario for sales growth during a most important time. It's so important, I'll mention again, Because you don't have accurate inventory in your stores are not sending the right signal to your supply chain, and your supply chain's not supplying the right SKUs to the stores. There's understocks where the ERP doesn't supply the needed SKUs. And if you address this, you keep your shelves full with the right SKUs and you lift sales. And overstocks it's the opposite situation where the ERP supplies the SKUs that the store doesn't need. If you address this problem, you can reduce stock keeping needs. So ultimately, we know that a SKU-based inventory system, physical inventory counts, and barcodes deliver poor accuracy throughout the year. It just doesn't work anymore with the demands and speed of omni-retailing. But there's a better path, and RFID is a solution. With RFID, you can count every unique item versus at SKU level. The data is more precise because in contrast to barcodes, you're counting to that last item. And as I'll demonstrate in the next slide, the count is very fast and accurate. This is a brief video, and that demonstrates the RFID counting in an apparel store. We're going to launch this from a separate window, which will go away pretty quickly, but I'll describe it afterwards. This is one of our deployments in China. She'll count all of the items in the store with a handheld reader, and notice how the count is more automated than barcode reading. She just waves the handheld across the shelves and across the racks, and the reader does everything else. Pay attention in the end to the store accuracy trends. Again, this video is going to just flash that, but I will talk about it after the video finishes. So let's launch the video. Okay, so did you pay attention to the dashboard? It started at a 60% SKU level accuracy, and through successive RFID stock counts and tying that RFID data back to the merchandise allocation system, we got to a 98% inventory accuracy. And the count is very fast, 5,000 items in 15 minutes in this case. And it's very easy and more automated. She's just waving the handheld across the racks, across the shelves. So if it's easy and fast, you can perform it more often. And many of our clients perform a weekly stock count. And RFID is more accurate than physical counting. People make mistakes with barcodes. There's more of a human element when reading barcodes. And for example, you can double count SKUs. So since every RFID tag is a unique license plate, you can't double count. So it's much more precise and accurate than barcodes. You can also count in different areas of the store and use for key store operations like receiving. Imagine you could read all of the items in a carton in seconds without opening the box. That's accurate inventory counting to the item level at speed. The key point here is with easier counting, you can perform it more often. And if you perform it more often, you can refresh the inventory register. Shrink and other inventory distortions that build up over time are eliminated, and that's the value. Now, because your inventory is providing the truth of the reality of that inventory in the store and sending the right signals to your supply chain's optimized to deliver the SKUs that the store needs. There are many proof points supporting the power of an RFID solution to drive inventory accuracy to these new heights. We've observed this in our own deployments. And here's an industry report from GS1 and ECR, 10 retailers that deployed RFID. These retailers raised inventory accuracy to a level where their business runs more smoothly. And the net of this is RFID solutions that tag and keep track of individual items versus a SKU-based system is the only technology that drives accuracy to the 93 to 99% levels that you need in the new retail. The second theme is that inventory accuracy is also essential for a good BOPUS operation. As I mentioned, the omnichannel journey is much more vulnerable to inventory inaccuracies and poor BOPUS execution than just shopping in a store. And the research proves this out. In a BOPUS study from Auburn University, concluded that for 81% of retailers, inventory accuracy is an obstacle to BOPUS. BOPUS orders are canceled at too high rates, some at double digits, and pick declines occur when store associates can't find the product in the store. They decline the order, and then the order moves to another store. This lengthens the fulfillment time and overall degrades the BOPUS experience. And split shipments occur where parts of the order come from different places. That increases your shipping costs and degrades your margin for an omnichannel transaction. And the pandemic made things worse, and retailers that didn't have RFID could not use their store inventory to sell through e-commerce. There was poor inventory utilization across these channels and across inventory pools like the DCs or e-commerce or stores. And they tended to fare worse than RFID leaders. And those RFID leaders had more confidence in the accuracy of the store. And they could utilize inventory in their store and move it to the online channel. And they tended to survive the crisis better. Lululemon reported that RFID improved their fill rate significantly from a 50% fill rate without RFID to 96 to 99% with. And according to a recent report from Accenture, those deploying RFID could offer many more omni-channel services than those without. So more confidence in your inventory, more accuracy in your inventory, and these retailers were able to offer more choice and flexibility to these most important customers. In summary, BOPUS is a promise that you make to your best customers, and RFID is the foundation of BOPUS enablement. Customers are demanding these services, and with RFID, stores can now be leveraged as fulfillment platforms. There's fulfillment flexibility and speed due to highly accurate inventory. And our point is that anything short of this performance is at the jeopardy of the customer experience. And the customer experience is my third theme. It builds on the other two. And this is the experience when a consumer picks up the product in the store. If it's a good experience, they'll come back for more. And if not, you're losing them. And many retailers deliver a bad experience. 57% of BOPUS shoppers have had a bad experience picking up an order at the store, according to a recent RIS survey. And from an Ipsos poll of 2,000 shoppers, 9% said that their order was not accurate. And UK shoppers left 250 million euros of product at click and collect sites last year. And this was due to long queues and understaffed collection points. So the bottom line of all of this is the last mile of the shopping journey should be seamless and error-free. And again, anything short of this is at the jeopardy of your consumer. The way to a better BOPUS fulfillment experience is through an RFID item level solution. Let's think about it. You've achieved the foundational piece, high inventory accuracy. Canceled orders are reduced because you know that the product is there with great confidence. Now you use RFID to find and pick the product. The order management system drops the order onto the associate's mobile app. And this is a screenshot of the Halo mobile app that the associate sees during the pick process. You then use RFID and Halo software to find, pick, and process these orders. And I'll demonstrate the search feature in the next video, but also think about it not only in terms of omnichannel in-store fulfillment, But think about it in terms of finding items in the back of the house and replenishing them very quickly and efficiently to the front of the house where you need to keep your shelves filled. Once picked, the software continues to guide the associate in the put away and pack process. And so what we're doing here is delivering a quicker search, error-free, and we're driving efficiencies. Here's a demonstration of this first part of the process, and then this will be searching and finding the product in a crowded stockroom. Deckers is one of our customers, and this video demonstrates the search and find capabilities of RFID. You'll see the associates looking for a particular SKU, which then could be part of an online order that needs to be picked. The associate can then find these items using the RFID rather than physically locating it. You'll see as the reader gets closer to the product, the target product and the tag, it alerts the operator more strongly. So search is more automated this way. Let's launch the video. So think about not only the order fulfillment, but also the fact that RFID and Halo software will help you replenish from back of house to the front of the house very efficiently. I've been in many stock rooms in my career, some not quite as organized as this one, cluttered with apparel items on racks and on shelves. Think about you're trying to replenish a shelf out in the sales floor. You go into the back of the house, you turn on the RFID reader, and that reader will tell you, maybe the tag is 30 feet away, but that reader will tell you that the product is there and will help zero in to the location of that product. So the result is less time searching and finding items for online orders. And in this case, once the items are reserved, the packing process starts. And every BOPUS fulfillment event is captured by our Halo platform. Managers can see the omnichannel operations across their store base with a click. And ultimately, the fulfillment process is shorter and software guides the associate, making the retail associate more productive for BOPUS fulfillment. And when BOPUS is more efficient, customers are more satisfied and they use it more. You drive more traffic to the stores. You increase basket size. And a recent survey said 67% of BOPUS customers buy additional items when they go and pick up the product in the store. You want to increase that traffic. And also with a great experience of pickup, you're increasing brand loyalty because you're serving customers the way they want to be served. Omnichannel leaders and brands such as Deckers, Lululemon, Macy's, and Nike agree. They've realized that for omnichannel to work well, they've got to leverage RFID technology. And this combination of leaders have fully deployed across their store fleet and tagged in over 1 billion units. For Nike, it's about visibility of every item across their supply chain and market. For Lululemon, it's about access of retail items across the inventory locations. Let's advance the slide a bit. And for Deckers, it's about empowering the retail associate to drive the customer experience. The net of this is inventory and how it's going to be utilized is going to be a point of difference for the apparel and footwear industry. And RFID is a requirement more so than any other technology investment as you move towards an omni-channel model. I'll shift gears a little bit and talk about what are the first steps that you need to build your case for RFID. And from these retail leaders and the themes that I've presented, there's likely a strong argument to begin developing a business case for RFID in your store base. And the first step is a pilot in your stores. You pilot the stores because that's where all the inventory distortions accumulate and where the largest financial opportunities are uncovered. And every pilot that we do reveals the truth of inventory in your store. And often it's different than what your ERP system thinks. And here at Checkpoint, we guide you from pilot to rollout. And from a technology solution standpoint, it's simple. Checkpoint RFID tags and labels attached to retail items in the stores. A handheld reader which reads RFID tags and is connected to the store wireless network. You see a mobile device here, and it could be an Android or iOS, and that mobile device hosts the Halo mobile app and communicates to the reader through a Bluetooth connection. And that application then communicates to the Halo app hosted in the cloud. And our cloud infrastructure is Microsoft Azure. And that cloud application then processes RFID data and displays it to an enterprise dashboard that gives you visibility of data and events across your pilot stores. It's simple, and we guide you through every step in this process. Here's some pilot considerations. And utilizing these components, we define the key performance indicators, or KPIs. These guide the pilot goals and objectives. We tag the product in the store. We perform stock counts weekly. And we collect data and compare it to what your ERP says. As RFID reflects the reality in your stores, the variance between RFID data and the ERP indicates the improvement you can achieve and ultimately connects to the benefits. I'll emphasize this here. You're scanning RFID, you're getting some data, and you're comparing that to what your ERP system thinks it's in the store. That gulf between those two data sets indicate the type of improvement you can achieve, and then helps you build that business case. So let's take a generic example, which nonetheless is grounded in some of the data we've seen from real pilots with our customers. And as I said before, RFID scans are performed on a weekly basis and compared to what the ERP system thinks the retailer has. There's really more KPIs that we track, but for this purpose, let's keep it simple for this example. Inventory accuracy is the key enabler that unlocks the big benefits. And if you recall, I mentioned understocks and overstocks as the components of inventory accuracy. And again, to repeat, for understocks, you have too little of these SKUs and they go out of stock. Address this, you increase sales. And overstocks, you have too many of these SKUs than the store needs. You address this and you reduce stock keeping. So in this generic example, we take data that is before RFID, and the 70% number is the variance between the ERP's data and what ultimately the RFID scans and tells you the truth of the store. So RFID is going to reflect the actual inventory. And in every pilot, we drive the KPIs to prove that accuracy can be improved to a high 90 percentile. The 70% accuracy at SKU level is not an uncommon result that we find in our pilots. It's within the industry range. And as I mentioned in this example, the overall inventory accuracy is made up of two components of understocks and overstocks. And then we drive these KPIs. These KPIs then point to a unique financial benefit. We want to get to a greater than 98% at SKU level overall, and less than or equal to 1% of all SKUs for both understocks and overstocks. Now that we've established the KPI targets, we see the improvement, and then we take that improvement and input it into an ROI model that takes into account your unique business and financial profile, along with these KPI metrics that we've acquired in the pilot. So our deliverable to you is a business case that's tailored to you, specific to your business, grounded in pilot data. And in its simplest form, that's how you build the business case. I've simplified this pilot scenario to give you a high-level sense of how customers start building the case for RFID. But one thing's clear, if you have a medium to large fleet of stores with inventory accuracies in the averages I've outlined, the ROI period is short. And according to industry reporting, averages over 8% of return on investment. And the positive financial impact is unlocked. Industry reports said 1.5 to 5.5% sales lift, and an inventory reduction opportunity of 2% to 13%. And ultimately, because you're driving a great BOPUS experience, you're increasing traffic into the stores, you're increasing sales and margin as a result, and you're delivering the promise to your most important customers. So let's tie this all together. In this presentation, I've talked about inventory accuracy being the next battleground for apparel and footwear retailers. You can convert every shopping trip into a sale, and that's what accuracy enables. I've emphasized that RFID is a key to BOPUS enablement, and those that implement it well will reap the rewards and increase sales and brand loyalty. And I've also outlined how RFID helps the store associates become more efficient in the fulfillment process, and why this is important to enable a seamless experience to drive more traffic to the stores and increase sales. And what we're doing here is we're building the house of today's successful omni-channel retailer. RFID item level solutions can drive a powerful point of difference with omni-channel services versus digitally native retailers. They can cultivate the most productive customers. They can maximize inventory utilization, these shared inventory among channels, locations, inventory pools. And then ultimately drive supply chain excellence with a single version of truth in the stores. In conclusion, folks, I hope you found this presentation informative and beneficial. I can tell you many in your peer group are accelerating their omni-channel programs and using RFID as a key enabler, probably the most important one. With the arguments I've laid out, I hope you agree. I strongly believe RFID needs to have a seat at the table as you consider your omni-channel strategy and the portfolio of investments required to get there. And we at Checkpoint are focused on your success and have a committed team of retail technology experts to guide you along your journey. I wish you all a tremendously successful peak and a great holiday with family and friends. And with that, I'll open for questions.
All right, thank you, Phil. We're going to go ahead and take some time for questions now. As a reminder, please be sure to type your questions into the question box in your control panel. We will address as many questions as possible, and our speaker will respond via email to any unanswered questions after the webinar. So the first question that we have here for you, Phil, is, can RFIDs be used to track returns, say in fashion retailing?
Yeah, absolutely can. And we have features in the software that can track returns and put it back into the inventory database at the store. That's one of the key items that is capable with RFID. And also from the return standpoint, if the tag is not there when the product is returned, we can return it, we can apply a new tag, re-encode it, and then introduce it back into the inventory database.
Great, thank you. Another question from the audience. Great presentation, by the way. Can you speak to how RFID can add value in supply chain operations?
So RFID gives you full track and trace capability at the item level in supply chain operations. I'll give you one particular use case that we do a lot, which is the outbound audit of shipments. We were working with a customer that was doing outbound shipments using barcodes, and they had audit tables installed in their distribution center. And so what we did, we accelerated and made the process much more efficient. They were scanning one-on-one these e-commerce orders, and ultimately they were running up into a capacity problem, and I think that they were running into an error problem as well. So RFID, basically you're putting the order into a box, and as you're putting the order into a box, an RFID table is counting these items in the box almost hands-free. And so you're counting at the item level. It's much faster and much more accurate. And so we drove efficiencies in this process of 50% or more. So that's just one example. You can also look at inbound receiving. You can look at the pick and pack process in the supply chain. Ultimately, RFID gives you the power to have full track and trace capability across the supply chain and into the market.
Great, another question here. Can you talk about RFID supply chain and brand protection for traceability and anti-counterfeiting?
Yes, so every item is every RFID tag is a unique license plate, and so if the brand protection, if you're embedding it in the product, you can read it, you can track it at various strategic points in that supply chain, so you know where it was shipped from, where it was received into, and other aspects of it. Again, it all comes back to that full track and trace capability. But the anti-counterfeiting, the item has to be, RFID item has to be part of the item in order to make that work.
Okay, we have a question about the cost of the system and labels.
Yeah, that always, so I'll give you some guideposts on the costs and the labels. You already have price tickets today. So I'll talk about the incremental cost of putting an RFID inlay in those price tickets or labels. Typically, it's very volume dependent, but it's somewhere in the range of 4 cents to 5 cents to add RFID capability to these price tickets. And it's a very similar process from a source tagging perspective. We've got a worldwide network of source tagging service bureaus that help manufacturers in that process of providing RFID encoded labels into the manufacturing space. So that's the incremental cost at the tag level. At the store, I'll guide you around somewhere between $1,500 and $1,800 for a handheld device in the store, and then it's hard to get specific in this public forum, but SaaS fees on a monthly basis, and they typically run below about $1,200 a year. Think about it in this way. If RFID could help you sell 1 or 2 more items every single week, based on your average selling price, you could pay for the cost of this solution, the capital cost of this solution, in less than a year. And that's what we're trying to drive here. Is these ROIs are not measured in years; they're measured in months typically, because the improvement that RFID drives is so dramatic.
And we're getting a lot of great questions here. Do you have RFID capabilities to scan into specific shelf locations, i.e. in stock rooms?
Yes, we do. So the state of the art right now is that absolutely we can scan into the stock room and separate different locations. So we would have a different location for the sales floor. We would have a different location in the software for the stock room, and that's what drives the replenishment feature that I mentioned. So in the replenishment scenario, very difficult to sort of eyeball the sales floor to see what specific SKUs are needed to be filled there. But RFID gives you the ability to detect the distribution of SKUs from sales floor to stock room, or even from sales floor to stock room and remote stock room. So we can set that up in the software. And then what you do is you take stock counts on a regular basis in each one of these locations to refresh the inventory table. Short answer is yes.
Great, thanks. So based on all the RFID benefits that you've mentioned, why do you think that so far only the leading retailers have implemented the technology?
Well, I think the retail industry as a whole has been fairly slow to transform. I think the pandemic and also the need and demand for customers for omnichannel services will drive increased adoption next year. We are seeing dramatically increased adoption in this technology. We say that omnichannel, in order to execute it well, you have to have inventory accuracy to the high 90 percentile range, and you can't do that without RFID technology. So we're seeing acceleration of adoption. Too bad that the pandemic was the big accelerator here, but that's what happened. These inventory pools, if you will, were stuck in the stores or in distribution centers or in e-commerce sites, and retailers had no visibility or accuracy on what SKUs were there, and therefore they didn't have an ability to use store inventory to sell through their e-commerce channel to keep their business up as the stores close. So we're seeing a pickup in adoption for sure.
Is there a decrease in shrink with RFID?
Yes, there is. So shrink is it's interesting. There is a portion of shrink that's just due to processing errors, and RFID driving the accuracy, operational accuracy, you're going to affect that portion of shrink that's due to processing errors. There's other anecdotal evidence that RFID, because RFID is tracked at the item level, internal theft in your worst stores also go down because the behaviors change as a result of people who are inclined to steal know that this product is being tracked more closely. And then from an external shrink perspective, RFID can be also placed at the point of exit pedestals. So if you think about it, external theft, somebody walks out with a product, the RFID tag can also be detected, it can be alarmed, but the benefit is you know exactly what item has left the building and you can replenish that quicker. So there's additional benefit there.
Thanks, Phil. Another question here. Do you have RFID solutions that are being used now for point of sale entry?
We do. We have a full point of sale solutions, both for point of sale and for self checkout. Have a conversation with us because we all of the point of sale, point of exit, inventory management are all we have hardware solutions, but they all tie into one unified platform, which is Halo. So that gives you just full visibility of these transactions wherever an RFID tag is read.
Okay. Another question here. Can you use RFID for authentication? Does it need to go through blockchain to do so?
We're tracking blockchain. It's not. It doesn't need to go through blockchain. I'm not quite sure what the question is. I think you remember every RFID tag is a unique ID, and you can authenticate based on that. We're looking at blockchain. We're participating in the blockchain discussions, and once that's a little bit more mature, our software can communicate through a blockchain type of architecture.
That'd be great. Let's see, next question here. How are RFID tags attached to the products? Is the manufacturer or retailer the ones that attach them?
The most economical mode is for RFID to be tagged at the source. And so we've built a worldwide network of source tagging service bureaus, and we have experts around the world, close to the needle, we say. So wherever a product is manufactured, we'll have a representative to help manufacturers tag at source. That's the most economical way. In the pilots that we run, this is pre-source tagging, obviously. So we have to tag up the store, and we have to provide tagging and encoding stations at the DC that then supply those pilot stores in. But once you've proven your business case, which we will help you to do, and you're going into a rollout, source tagging is the most economical way.
Great. We had a similar question, so I'm going to skip that one to the next one here. Are the RFID tags and labels recyclable? Meaning once the item is sold, the tag is gathered and sent back to Asia for suppliers to attach to another garment?
No, they're consumables from a label standpoint. We do have hard tags that are RFID hard tags, and we do have a pretty impressive hard tag recycling infrastructure. With very large retailers use it, and tens of millions of hard tags are processed through it. But that's it's hard tag.
Okay, here we go. Another one. Do you work with common carriers and trucking companies to keep track of where a product is at any time?
We can. We've worked with 3PLs before. Typically we're not working with trucking or logistics. It's at the distribution center. It's at the point of manufacture, and we're doing some work with 3PLs today. But anywhere where there's a strategic point that you need to read a carton, we can do this with our solution. So yes.
Perfect. Are there any suppliers that integrate RFID into their products during the manufacturing process?
So that's something that's the next. We have woven in tags as an example for apparel garments. The industry's working on also embedding tags into footwear. Likely going to be the next evolution of tagging. We'll always have tagging at the price ticket, but there are hundreds of millions of labels that are sewn in today. And then the next evolution is embedding the RFID tag in the shoe. One other thing, another comment about that is that we've recently come out with an RFID, a combination RFID and NFC tag. So UHF RFID is for inventory management because it gives you very long reading range for that inventory counting, and then NFC is what you see in your concert tickets sometimes, or tap and go type processes with your phone. And so embedding a platform like that, you can track product from an inventory management perspective, and you can tap the shoe to get specialized content information about that product. So these are exciting kind of developments for us, for sure.
Thanks, Phil. I think one more question, you might have touched on it a little bit, but we'll ask it anyway. So you can elaborate a bit more. Can we try RFID in our stores before we invest?
Yes. Come to us with that discussion. We do have programs that we can work with select vendors select customers that we can do this. We can work with you, pilot a store, proof of concept a store, prove the inventory, prove the business case for RFID and inventory management. One of the things that's pretty interesting is there are retailers that have RFID tag product at source already showing up in your store. So we work with some retailers that have that already their brands have tagged product from the source. So, you know, I've talked about Nike. Nike has fully tagged all of their product, and other shoe brands are doing the same. So these products are showing up in the store. The retailers that are carrying these products have a huge opportunity to unlock benefit without making the investment in the tags. So come to us with that question, because if you're in that category, there's an opportunity here that is very cost effective.
Okay, it looks like we've covered all of our questions for today. And as we close, I would like to wish everyone a happy holiday season. We look forward to connecting with you in the new year at future AFA webinars and virtual events. Thank you again to our speaker, Phil Lazo. On behalf of AFA, we would like to thank you for joining this session and to thank Checkpoint Systems for sponsoring today's program. An email with links to the PDF and recording from today's program will be sent to you. Thank you for joining us and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.